Did you guys see the Ric Flair pizza parlor fucking video?
It was a fucking joke, man.
It was tremendous. What do you mean it was a joke? It was tremendous. Ric Flair arguing over a $1,000 tip at a pizza place was the best.
Well, it all stemmed because apparently he had to take a shit and some other guy took too long in the bathroom and he complained about it. And
it's Ric Flair.
And then it's like, I don't know. It's just that guy just needs to fucking stay home.
If he would have just said like, I had to sit through a Denny Brown versus Roof House R. Jones whatever match in 1982, and you're making me wait to take a shit, then you got problems.
I'll never not respect him, but it's like, God damn, man, you can't. You look like the Crypt Keeper. just fucking stay home.
Oh, he's the best, dude. I mean, why somebody like TMZ hasn't like hooked their wagon up to him and just record him wherever he goes? Just because it's going to be a show anywhere he goes. It's going to be a spectacle, right?
Ric Flair's hijinks. The Diary of an Old Drunk. Sponsored by Woo Wings.
And it's funny. It's fun when he's like, I don't know. He's fucking getting kicked out of bars and it's not now. He's not even getting kicked out of bars. He's getting kicked out of fucking Mr. Gaddy's or where the fuck he was at. It's like, settle the fuck down, Pop Pop.
Pizza Plus.
Like, go home.
Pop,
you just got us kicked out of Mr. Gaddy's.
Pop Pop Flair.
Yeah, settle the fuck down, Richard.
Well, I don't care. He in my book, he can do whatever he wants, man. And I mean, there's no way you're actually going to tarnish like his reputation based upon anybody who knows him as an individual already knows him. And there's thousands of people that know him like personally that have seen this and experienced it. So what's the difference if a few more thousand people have seen it?
It's a good thing Tony Khan wasn't there. He'd been like, I was afraid for my life. I thought I was going to die at Mr. Gaddy's. I didn't know what was happening.
His big hair and his bug eyes.
Yeah. I did think it was funny though when I do think it was funny when Flair, I do think it's funny when Flair was yelling at the people behind the counter, and then that one like 25-year-old dude was like, I don't fucking work here. If you want to go outside, I'll go outside with you right now. And then Flair was like, huh? What?
The customer?
Yeah, that customer was like, I don't fucking work here, so it doesn't matter to me. Like, that dude had enough. Like, he was just trying to enjoy his pizza, and here's Pop Pop, Crypt Keeper over here. That dude just was like, if you want to go outside, I'll go outside with you right now. And then Flair was like, what? Huh? Like, you didn't take him up on it.
I don't have a liver.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what that guy was trying to do. That guy was trying to get himself famous. Imagine you go outside with Ric Flair. You know,
knowing like, that either way you're gonna get 15 minutes out of it. You either beat him up in the Gaddy's parking lot, or you got beat up by Ric Flair in a Mr. Gaddy's parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know if he's that Mr. I don't even know if it was Mr. Gaddy's, but that's the only party pizza place I know about.
I would have done the same thing. I would have done the exact same thing, except I would have realized that it was Flair, and I would have said, all right, well, what can I do? And then I would have done the exact same thing and challenged him. And I would have went outside. I would have sold for him. I would have bumped for him.
But bump off the hood of an Accord.
Yeah. I would have let him chop me. Let him do all his woos while he's getting his pizza.
Can I get a pizza and some wooings?
Oh, totally, man.
That's just ridiculous.
No, I get what everybody's saying about Ric Flair. But I mean, what's the guy gonna do? I mean, he's in his mid to late 70s, dude, and he's just out there. What home?
The home. He needs to be put in the home.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the IRS probably took his house a while back.
They
They're
like put him somewhere where you got to have a key card to get out.
But he's talking about leaving $1,000 tips. He left $1,000 tip for that jabroni that he called him. I just laughed. I was like, who at this point does not know what the hell they're dealing with? Who wears a tie-dye suit to a Gatsby's Pizza?
His suits look like the suit version of the shirts that old ladies wear, or the sweatshirts that old ladies wear in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like an old lady in Florida.
Hey, Ric Flair dresses like a golden girl. What's up, B. Arthur?
I think by the end of the day, everybody's going to have a Ric Flair experience.
I said he'd be B. Arthur, but yeah, he'd be B. Arthur. He's Dorothy.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the facial features. He's got the facial features of B. Arthur.
You wait till he comes to Ohio. And you guys will get a Ric Flair experience at your Gatsby's Pizza.
He got kicked out of a bar in Fort Wayne. That's like 30 minutes away.
Well, he needs to come to Knoxville. He ain't getting thrown out of here.
So before
I'll make sure of that, because I'll call the diversion and I'll get thrown out first.
Before we get into
if he goes there and he ends up chopping a chick, she'll blow apart.
You hear Aaron, you hear Chad, you hear me. I'm Nate. And of course, this is Reliving the Extreme. Before we get into the ECW show after that Ric Flair talk there, before we get into the ECW show we're reviewing this week, which is funny because on the network, it's June 17th, 1996. The show actually aired on June 18th, 1996. Doesn't matter, just a little thing. But the dumbest thing that I read on the internet this week, because I have decided, as you guys have probably noticed as we go through the shows, like my new like cause in life is to shit on stupid internet wrestling marks as much as I possibly can. I saw this dude comment this week. I don't give a shit that Dave Meltzer gives a match 5 stars, 6 stars, 9 stars. I don't care. To me, he's just like me. He's just a guy that watches wrestling.
Well, it's all opinion.
But yeah, one of the news stories this week was that Dave Meltzer gave AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes 5 stars, which it was a great match. But I saw this goof, this neckbeard, comment, and he said, listen to this. Fall back in your chair if you will. The dude actually commented, I don't think that match can be considered great because both of them only used their finisher once. And I was like, this guy's only been watching wrestling for like 10 years.
Oh, no, I would. Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
You're kind of close. 10 years is cutting it close. I was literally going to jump in and say about 6 or 7. Yeah. He only used their finishers once.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Oh, we got to get his name. We got to make this guy famous.
We'll see. If we're gonna blast these people, I want to know their names so I can.
Is it Hansy?
I'll start writing names down.
You, Stuart Smalley, are a fucking moron. I know. I'm just saying.
Please tell me it's Hansy.
But I read that and I just shook my fucking head. I was like, "You have got to be kidding."
Well, am I the only one that's kind of getting behind, like, Strickland?
I don't watch AEW anymore, so I don't know. I like him. I think he's good. But I haven't watched AEW in a long time. But from what I've seen of him, I think he's really good.
Well, he's definitely talented. Like, he can definitely work. But I mean, he's making the proverbial chicken salad out of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, because he's just running through people at this point, you know? And I think now he's at a point where they finally decided, okay, we got something that we just can't run through with Danielson, you know? Because I think if I had the book, the pencil, whatever you want to say, at this point they should make it a best of 3 or something, because that's what it's looking like. Like they're because he's beating everybody convincingly, and I'm like he's literally beaten like everybody from Joe C to Wardlow. Like he's beating midgets to Mola to Wardlow. Like he's beating everybody. But Danielson is the only guy that I think that is credible. But you know what I mean? I mean, how can you make Danielson credible when he's just killing everybody? He's just running through people. But I see a best of 3 or a best of something. Or if not that, some sort of specialty match.
Do you think
he's over?
Do you think Danielson, when he retires, do you think he stays there or goes back to WWE in some sort of capacity or just leaves for good? Because I know the main reason he went to AEW was because they were going to let him work in Japan. And I know he's about to wrap his career up.
He'll go back and go in their Hall of Fame.
Oh, that'll be a while, I think, for that one. Yeah, because
I see him going back to WWE, and I think he'll work there, and I think he'll go in their Hall of Fame. And the reason I think he'll work there is because he's friends with Sean. Sean didn't train him completely, but Sean had a lot to do with him getting into the business. And I can see Bryan Danielson being somebody that Sean would want to have work at NXT. Is what I think.
That's actually a pretty good point, Aaron. I mean, that's a pretty good point. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as the way that he is where he is, and I think he's pretty happy staying there because of the freedom. That's what I think.
And that's what I'm saying that with the working wise of it, yeah. But when it comes, if he's retiring and I'm not going to work anymore, am I going to want to be on a creative team with this clown shoe or whatever? It's like
clown shoe.
I think he goes back to WWE and works at NXT. That's what I think they're going to do. I think that's what if he stays in the wrestling business, I can see that being his next career.
Well, I'm just glad I'm not Bryan Danielson and they didn't offer me that because I watch NXT, and that's not even the last place that I want to be. Like there's a whole lot of other places that I'd rather be than NXT at this point.
The episode, yeah, like I said, the episode of ECW we're reviewing this week, June 18th, 1996. The show opens up pretty much with a highlight package of what's been going on lately in ECW. Joey Styles welcomes us to the show. He runs down the Hardcore Heaven card, and he does mention that Brian Pillman is going to be on the show this week. And he does make mention of, we've been talking about it, anticipating it for about 3 or 4 weeks now, but now Brian Pillman has officially signed with the WWF, but he's still going to be here in ECW. Probably because they still have shit on tape, but regardless,
unaired vignettes.
You don't belong here.
And we also get the hint that the Samoan Gangsta Party is going to be on the show this week. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Rosie once wrestled for ECW.
Once
wrestled for ECW.
That's the only thing I got out of that is when Joey Styles just said, like, you don't even belong here. He said, get your big ass out of here. I was just like, all right, I see where this show's going. And yeah, he just recapped everything, which again, they cannot not show like the Dudleys.
Well, and also this is 96, and this is, as we've talked about, so from the beginning of 96 and I know they became like the underground sensation in 94, and then in 95 they kind of built their legend out there through the dirt sheets and all that stuff, and they became a promotion that hardcore fans wanted to partake in. But 96 is really the year that they gained the most steam as far as a national audience goes. So recapping at the beginning of every episode makes sense because you're essentially saying, every week they are literally getting new viewers, so it's
not even new viewers by the dozens. It's by the tons, it's going to happen like from now for the next, I don't know, 30, 40 weeks that it's gonna do that. So we're gonna have to be adjusted as fans to understand that, yeah, we're gonna have to adjust seeing the same stuff, to reintroduce these people to us that already know who they are.
Yeah.
Which is cool, as long as they do it in a different fashion. You can do the same thing every single week in a different fashion,
Mm-hmm.
It isn't the hardest thing.
I cut out there for when I hit the wrong button, but like, I don't know if you said it, but they have to do it because new people are just stumbling upon it, so they need to know what the fuck's going on. It's just kind of like it's like it's not the same thing, but it's like when they did WrestleMania 14 and they knew a bunch of different eyes that had never watched this shit were gonna be watching because of Mike Tyson. So every single fucking match that mattered had a fucking movie before it. Like, this is what's going on. This is why these people are fighting.
Well, I remember
same thought process.
I remember a few months before, just basically when I was getting ready to leave, when we were doing shows and Paul would introduce to the locker room, new channels. He would tell us these different channels that are carrying it, stuff like that. And for the most part, we already thought, God damn, we're on everywhere. But we're on every nowhere. Most of these people didn't get this stuff, or so it's so it's him reintroducing these people because now they are on a bigger platform now, because what Sports Channel is, a Sports Channel America or whatever channel they are.
Yeah, and
it's a much better platform.
I think at this point they're on the Sunshine Network too, aren't they? By this point,
that's why they went down to Ford and everything. It was for that.
I mean, they might still be, because I'm sure Sunshine Network is still owned by Sports Channel at some in some affiliation, but it's still going to be a Sports Channel affiliation. So yeah, but it's going we're talking about 1996. The internet really hasn't even taken off yet.
Because the Sunshine Network is literally the way that I first watched ECW. I've mentioned it before. Back then, the first time I ever actually watched it was in '96, and it was because my dad had DirecTV, and DirecTV, even though we're in Ohio, his DirecTV package had the Sunshine Network. So through the Sunshine Network, I stumbled upon ECW because of that. So yeah, I mean, I think at this point they're on there. They're just like I said, they're just gaining new outlets, and not only new outlets, but better time slots too. No longer are we on at 2:00 in the morning.
And then you also got to take in consideration at this point in time the newsletter outlets.
Mm-hmm.
You got Meltzer's, you got the dude that does the Torch. All them people, them people are already trying to watch it. If they can't watch it, they're trying to watch it.
Right.
So they're going to get tapes, and then you got Feinstein with his little kiosk at the mall, selling bootlegs of it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a pretty hot commodity, I would think, right about now.
Mm-hmm.
With the way cable that kind of television is emerging.
And I'm sure with how he was in the tape trading community in the area of the country that he was from, I'm sure John McAdam helped getting their momentum going too.
I don't know. I'd like to think so, but I also like John McAdams I don't think John McAdams did.
Well, then after the whole deal, talking about at the beginning of the show, we get fan cam footage of what I keep saying has go away heat with me. I'm tired of Tommy Dreamer and Brian Lee. Tired of it. But here's more Tommy Dreamer and Brian Lee.
Every week it's a fan cam video of them fighting all over the place, and it's the same fucking fight, and then Tommy winds up on or in something, and it's like, okay.
I was gonna ask one of you two if you had any access to PWI, right?
Yes.
To tell me like what was like the feud of the year for like 96.
I could probably look it up real quick.
And was this anywhere close?
I would hope not.
Because there wasn't an award for go away feud of the year. Was there?
Probably in the Observer.
No, even Dave wouldn't even do that. He was still a mark. But this feud just seems to keep just. This feud is the DW Dudley of
It was
feuds.
Vince McMahon the 1996 feud was Vince McMahon versus Eric Bischoff.
Okay, and you're gonna put this up against that.
And then Ric Flair and Randy Savage, and then Mankind and The Undertaker, and third runner-up was Jamie Dundee versus Wolfie D.
Well, there you go.
So PG-13 even beat Brian Lee and Tommy Dreamer.
Then there you go. That tells you what kind of pulse Tommy Dreamer and Brian Lee had on the wrestling community when Jamie Dundee and who else you said? Bart Sawyer?
Wolfie D. No, Wolfie D.
Whatever, beat them. That's pitiful. Enough of Brian Lee and Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. They're eventually going to give us that moment that's in the ECW video for like its eternity. But anyway,
it's the Shaker Taker versus the Pizza Taker. It's like, Jesus Christ. These guys off my TV.
I think he's a tip taker. He waits behind that at a public dinner when people leave their money for the tip and Tommy Dreamer takes it. Ends up leaving like less.
Yeah, essentially
Fuck Tommy Dreamer.
They end this thing with Brian Lee choke slamming Tommy Dreamer through the top of a dumpster that someone should have set on fire, and he gets the pin. And Brian Lee beats Tommy Dreamer. And again, I'll say it. This doesn't entertain me. I'm over the Brian Lee shit. I'm over the I don't know, just all of it.
Tommy found a half a bag of Funyuns. He was happy.
I just thought it was about time that somebody finally killed Dreamer.
He was like even the bag was even rolled up. Like it wasn't even exposed. It was a rolled up half bag of Funyuns.
Dude, how much you want to bet he left it in there on purpose?
For later, yeah. Save her for later.
Like just in case they had to do another take. Oh, I can't eat all these Funyuns now. Yeah, Dreamer stinks.
Because of all the Funyuns.
I just thought it was about time that somebody just went ahead and just killed Dreamer. And if you weren't smart to ECW, you would have kind of thought that they were just writing Dreamer off at this point, right? Because he just buried him, he threw him in the dumpster and did all that to him. So you would have thought this is the end of Dreamer.
And it's just because Tommy loves being in ECW. Like Todd Gordon says it in his book. He's like, nobody else would have just let us beat him over and over and over again for a year and a half. Nobody else would have participated in a feud where they never fucking won. But Tommy just loved ECW so much.
Where else was he gonna go?
ICW.
Like I know they talk about WCW wanting him, but yeah, how fast he would have fucking flamed out in WCW and just been on fucking Saturday Night.
They could have given him an Italian name, and he could have teamed with Tom Brandi as the Sincere Brothers.
I thought they already did. They didn't? Like Tommy Dreamer, Tom Brandi, and Curly Moe? They weren't like the FBI and like the ICW.
I was thinking of the Tom Brady Salvatore Sincere deal in the WWF. Bring Tommy in and call him Guido Sincere or something, and they can be the Sincere brothers. Sincerely.
Yeah, enough with Tommy Dreamer.
Moving along, we get a segment. This segment, I don't even know how I felt about this segment. So I'm
dragged.
Yes, I'm interested to see what you guys say.
Like Dr. Doodle, he just kept rambling.
Stevie Richards and Blue Meanie come out. They're dressed like the Blue Bloods. Stevie Richards serves Missy Hyatt with sexual harassment papers.
Which he's already done before.
Yes. And then Dr. Mark Allen gets in the ring.
I didn't know what his name was. I was just calling him Dr. Doodle. He's just a little guy. And he's just rambling, and Sandman's just watching. Like, to me, it's like this. If it's the Sandman character and this doctor's talking to him like this, that little guy would have been able to talk to Sandman for like 27 seconds and he would have just smashed him with the cane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right. Aaron,
this is way too much.
Aaron, hang on 1 second. Because I want to tell you and I want to tell Nate this. That my next note for this segment is I'm going to bail out, and I wrote, Aaron, please kill this. so go ahead, because I'm gonna.
This little motherfucker is gonna stand in front of Sandman, whose character is supposed to be the most hardcore guy in the entire company. He canes anybody and everybody, and he's gonna stand there and let this little fucking guy yell at him because he's working on his hurt foot. And it's like, what the fuck? And he just dragged, and he's cursing out Sandman and everything. And he's just standing there watching him. It's so fucking stupid. It was. And I know this little guy was like Raven's friend, and he's actually a podiatrist, and he's friends with the ECW locker room and all that. But this was fucking stupid. I hated it. It made Sandman look like a moron. That a little fucking doctor is going to stand there and yell at him for 3.5 fucking minutes, and he's just staring at him. The only way they would have made it the only way they could have made it believable is if they would have not had the camera on the doctor, but had the camera on Sandman's face, and he's just looking at this little fucking disbelief. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only way it would have worked. That's the only way it would have worked. He should have caned the guy 27 seconds into the fucking conversation. Or they shouldn't have done it at all.
It was perfect. It was perfect that after he did all that the only thing the Sandman said was, "Yo." That's all he said.
I didn't like this segment, and the Blue Bloods thing was all right. I mean, Joey put it over way more, like with his little fake laugh. He put it way over more than what it needed to be, but it wasn't good. I did like Sir Robert the Earl of Eating. Like, that's funny. When they called Blue Meanie that. But other than that, it's just like, what the fuck? None of this works.
Well, I know Aaron just elaborated on how stinky this was, because it was. Like I said, I wrote down here. I also wrote down, Chad and Aaron, but I'm interested to hear what the boys think about this one, because it just, like Aaron said, it went on forever. The gist of what Mark Allen was saying was that he was the one that took care of Sandman's surgery, and Sandman was not listening to his post-operative instructions and was still wrestling, even though he's not fully healed up from his surgery. Now, why any of that pertains to anything, I don't know. I wrote down here, I don't understand the purpose of all of this, but anyway.
Like, shut the fuck up and let him do it, because he might need another surgery, and he'll be back to you. You little idiot.
It's business. He's drumming up business.
Yes. My dentist hopes that I have a cavity. My dentist hopes that I have a cavity when I go in there.
This guy's got a bad foot. He podiatrist.
He tells me not to eat the jelly beans, but he really wants me to eat the jelly beans so that I'll have a cavity the next.
He wants to give Sandman a club foot. Maybe he should have did the loaded boot. But
the match.
Could you imagine if Sandman would have done the loaded boot, and there would have been like a beer in his boot, and like when he would have like loaded it up, like it would have like, you know how when you shake a beer up and open it up, when he kicked the guy, it just splattered all over the place. That's what he should have done. Yeah, that guy stunk. Sandman stinks. Good Lord.
Well, the match that we have here is Sandman and Stevie Richards, which they don't show much of the match, but
Thank God.
Sandman winds up winning the match with a small package, and then Raven comes out, takes out Sandman's knees, and puts a figure 4 on him. But what I wondered was, did he like eat some barbecue or something? Because he had. It's like I was like, is this barbecue sauce? Because I don't see anywhere where Raven was bleeding. Why was he so fucking bloody?
He wasn't from a thing. It was a thing previous. Nate, I'm trying to tell you.
He wasn't bleeding during the match we saw with Pitbull 2 that was on this show.
I don't think it. I don't know. It might be a different show. I don't think this is the Pit. I don't know. I don't think it's that.
And you might
remember he had done. Yeah, he had done something earlier in the show. He had done something earlier in the show that didn't air that he got busted open on.
Yeah, but was he bleeding, or was he did he have just like the wounds of bleeding?
Oh no, he was crimson masked.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, because it's in my notes, like it just stuck out to me. Like I don't understand what, and Joey never even really mentions that he's covered in fucking blood. So
he does.
I didn't know.
Still bleeding from. He says he's still bleeding from the previous events of the evening or whatever.
Yeah, I guess I missed.
Wait, I missed a lot apparently.
Aren't all the fans?
I was still traumatized by watching Brian Lee and fucking Tommy Dreamer.
Who's not?
Oh wait till you get to Blue Dust.
Oh God. Show me on the doll where ECW touched you.
Well, he had the doll. We'll get to it.
But yeah, this segment didn't also, much like the previous segment, didn't catch my interest. So they're kind of batting batting zeros.
Me personally, I'm just. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the ECW fans because I was gone. I didn't have a dog in the fight or anything, but by watching it from where I was at, like I was kind of thinking to myself, I am so over like Raven and Brian Lee, you know, like there's gotta be something else going on here because these two just aren't doing it for me. And it's probably Brian Lee. It's probably not Raven, but there's nothing there. It's not interesting, no matter what they do.
So let's see here. Now the next thing on the show is good. It is Sabu versus Mikey Whipwreck again, and I don't know how anybody could watch these two wrestle each other and not be entertained because this was another great match.
It was, and it's like I was just gonna say, anytime these guys work with each other, it's good, and it's kind of like a funny thing because when you think about it on paper or whatever, you're like, nah, I don't know if this is gonna be any good. But like the first time they did it, they're like, holy shit, they lit it up, and then they do it again, and you're like, holy shit, it's even better. Like, oh my god, this is amazing, and like. Sabu is just like giving him everything, and it's fucking really good. And like I said, each time I've seen these guys wrestle each other, it's been better than the last time they wrestled each other.
It really kind of makes me mad in a sense because I had that opportunity with Sabu, like to work with him, and Sabu never really he did, but he didn't really offer me the same kind of like offense that he offered Mikey, which kind of like I don't want to say it makes me jealous, but it kind of does. You know what I mean? Like, I like, because I think that I'm as good as Mikey, easily, if not better. And I thought I could have had just as good of a match with Sabu if Sabu would have allowed me to. That's why I was gonna ask one of you two. Do you think that Paul would have stepped in at this point and said, "Hey, I need you to give him, X% of this match"? You know what I mean? 40%, 50% of the
Right.
match. You know what I'm saying?
And we've discussed since the early days of Mikey that, Mikey was he was a guy that was going to be figured in because he was a New York guy, right?
Yeah. But he's also not a leader. Like there's no chance he's calling the match. You know what I'm saying? There's 100% chance that he's not calling this match. It's going to be probably 70% Sabu and 30% Paul and 0% Mikey, probably. But I still thought it was a fantastic match for considering where Mikey was in his career and where Sabu was in his. Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic match.
And I have to say, because we watched their first match a couple of weeks ago, I actually thought this one was better than the first one, personally.
Oh, it was.
A lot of times they are better because the first time they could have worked, they probably never touched.
And I assume that Sabu is a guy that you're probably going to get better as you work with him more, just because his style, you have to figure out what the fuck,
Yeah, because the first time you work with him, you're probably going to get pissed off because he's reckless and he's going to hurt you. So, but then the match is going to be good. And then the next time you work with him, you understand that I'm probably going to get hurt because he's reckless. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of expect it. So I thought Mikey did a good job, man. I mean, I was proud of Mikey there.
Yeah, and
I know they'll do it.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I know I know they'll do it a lot going forward at other matches and even like getting into like the WWE or whatever. But the springboard off the top rope through the table DDT to the outside, it's just it always looks awesome in my opinion, and it looks
Actually,
I like that spot.
I actually have the same note written down here, so we're in agreement there.
With the springboard,
I was paying attention to this.
I was just messing with you.
I know. But that last segment did lose me for a minute. Like I am not happy. Anyway, but yeah, and they, like I said, fantastic match. Mikey holds his own with Sabu, but ultimately gets defeated. And then after the match, Sabu shakes Mikey's hand, which is one hell of an endorsement.
Dude, I like the way. I'll tell you
sorry.
what. I like the way that when Sabu beat him, and he put him away clean. Like the crowd didn't do the 1, 2, or anything. Like they realized Mikey was done, right?
And I like the fact that he didn't let him get counted out. You know what I mean? Like if you watch, because Mikey's trying to get back in the ring and the ref's counting him. And Sabu's like, his character's like, man, I like this kid. I don't want him to lose on a count out. So like he actually pulls him back. He could have just let him lay out there and get the count out. He's like, no, I'm gonna pull him in the ring and pin him. You know what I mean? Because at least he didn't go out like a chump. I liked that part of it.
Well, that's funny you say that because I wonder if that was booked or that was just ECW. You know what I mean? I wonder if Sabu just thought that because it was ECW, not because of the way it was booked. Like he could have easily just, in a regular world, just said, "Fuck this guy. I'm just going to let him lay out there and get counted out." But I thought Mikey did a good job. He held his own, and Sabu, like I don't like either one of these two guys, honestly, to tell you the truth. But I thought they worked well together, and Sabu gave Mikey a lot of offense, which was, and the best part about Mikey's offense, it kind of reminds me of mine because it is kind of sloppy. It's not perfect. It ain't meant to be perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not Mikey Mysterio Jr. or Mike Kosi's. He's not. So when he gets
Mike
his
Kosis,
offense,
I like it. Mike Kosis.
so when he gets his offense, it's meant to be a little awkward. So that's cool to me, like the way that it is. Yeah, it was good, and like I said, I don't like either one of them two idiots.
The next thing on the show is Raven and Stevie. And
I don't
Raven's
think you can do half this. I don't think you can do half this stuff in a park, and they did it.
Raven and Stevie Richards are at what is supposedly Raven's childhood playground. And we get the whole thing of Raven was disappointed with the whole the Hugh Grant harlot, I forget her name, Divine Brown. She still wasn't trashy enough, she still wasn't nasty enough, blah 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 blah. So Stevie Richards introduces Raven to Blue Dust. And it is Blue Meanie. Well, if you're listening to this show, you know what Blue Dust is. I'm not going to describe it because I may need to take a bath if I describe it.
It's a rotund man with cake frosting on him and a little baby doll on his dick. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
John Waters'
dream. I'm pretty sure it was cake frosting because they were eating it. I know that.
I'll take. and one thing I'll take. I've heard a million of shoot interviews about Meanie or with Meanie about what he talks about, like me, and when he talks about like New Jack and all the other stuff. But what Meanie doesn't ever tell anybody about was he owes me a debt of gratitude because I'm the one that got him booked to begin with. Like I brought him to Maryland first to work, and then I took him to Philadelphia to work. I liked him. Like I knew Brian from the Al Snow days after he was trained, and we became friends. And I brought him into Maryland, and I worked him then when he was Brian Heffron, whatever his name was, Brian Rollins, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And I worked him, and I got him into Philadelphia. But my God, how people's perceptions change once they, like it's not even like he's like JBL or anything. You know what I mean? Like I could see, like of all the people that I've ever made, like Mickey James or anybody, and got like places that had made tons of millions of dollars or whatever that they made. But I'm like the Blue Meanie. Like he won't even give me credit for getting him booked. How about this? Fuck Blue Meanie. Stinky Meanie.
Stevie Richards in this segment thought that Raven was going to fuck Blue Meanie, but that wasn't going to happen. And essentially, Blue Meanie and Stevie do the disgusting Blue Dust stuff. Like this, I watch it and I'm like, this is awkward. Like I don't know. I feel awkward watching this.
It's like, don't drop the doll. Don't drop. Like I hope that doll doesn't tip over. Like
nobody wants to see
this.
Yeah, listen, Blue Meanie. Nobody wants to see your Blue Weenie. Okay.
I don't think there was anything there to see. There was no Blue Weenie. There was none of that. I mean, it is what it was for TV, right? It looked great. I mean, I don't know about great, but you know what I mean.
It did not look
There's
great.
A big fat guy laying there with cake icing all over him. He's laying there with cake icing all over him. And he okayed this. Good Lord.
Well, I think, according to my notes, this is at the point of the show where we roll into Pulp Fiction. And
yeah, Devon smacking sign guy Dudley's head off the wall.
That's part of the show.
Big Dick's coming back for his family. Yeah. But I just like the fact that the through line through the Pulp Fiction is Devon smacking each one of the Dudley boys that's not Bubba's head off the fucking wall.
What did sign guy sign say? Didn't it say like "Where's Dick" or "Bring back Dick" or something like that?
Something
Well,
like
at
that.
first,
Yeah.
it was at first he wanted Dick, but then Devon wanted him to admit that Devon was the family member, and then his new sign said Devon's because he was like, "Whose family is it?" And then he held up the Devon's sign. But yeah,
I don't care. I don't care what they do. Just every single week, just give me a Dudley Boy skit. Just, I mean,
Keep
Like,
them coming.
they're the best. They're the best thing going right now.
dude, you're not,
For sure.
Aaron. You're not kidding. Like I said through all this, and these guys are killing themselves out there and in the ring and everything, and they're doing all this and all that and everything. I'm just going, all I want to see is Devon and Bubba
Yeah,
running through the parking lot, playing
the best
Yakety
things going.
Sax.
The best things going on right now is the Dudley Boys situation with Big Dick and Devon wanting control of the family, and then the Eliminators and the Gangstas, and it's like this is the two things that are the best things, and we never see it. We just see it in Pulp Fiction. It's annoying.
Yeah, but see that's the brilliant part of it right there. That's what they would call the tease, right? Because if you're already getting New Jack out there doing his stupid nonsense, and the Eliminators, which are, they're intimidating enough, and the Gangsters are intimidating enough, but then you got the Dudleys, who nobody assumes are like credible threats, but yet they're probably just as over, if not more, than the other acts. But they're over in a different way. They just haven't inserted them yet into the program, right? Isn't that where we're getting at?
Yeah.
And what we're building to?
We do see during this Pulp Fiction, we see the Gangstas, we see the Eliminators, we see Shane Douglas cutting a promo about the TV title. We see very short footage. I love how they're like in the description on the WWE Network. They're like the Samoan Gangsta Party makes their ECW debut, and everything we saw from them was like a 14-second clip. We see stuff with Paul Varlins and Taz.
I think the Samoan Gangster Party, I think that was one of them. That was one of them people that like Paul had to use, like, for a reason, And
They
I
went
think-
to WWE. They went to WWF for a minute because they were going to feud with Fatu when Fatu was making a difference. And I think
but I
they
think,
went to
but
EC.
I think, hang on, Aaron. But what I think was, I think that Paul apologized, like, to the locker room, like, afterwards about it. Like, it wasn't his idea. Like, he had to do it. like for
Samoan.
That's what I'm
concerning the Samoan Gangster Party. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Vince probably made him take them for a little bit. But when you talk about Taz, they showed Paul Varlins, and then I thought it was funny when Taz said, "I'm gonna take your big head and I'm gonna shove it up your big ass."
Big ass.
and then response he goes like, "And it's probably gonna fit." Like, that's funny. Yeah, you have to take your big head and shove it up your big ass.
And then it was funny that they actually showed Paul Varlins, so you can look at his big head.
Yeah.
And you can think about his big ass.
And then speaking of big asses, then we get Stevie Richards hosing off the Blue Meanie. And Blue Meanie singing Maniac like he's Chris Farley and Tommy Boy.
I'm sure it's not the first time he had hose fucking frosting off him.
What are you insinuating?
The Blue Meanie probably gets frosting on him all the time.
Oh, I don't
It's
know.
kind of like when Harley Race had to earn his chops in the business by washing down that big fucking Happy Humphreys guy or whatever. It's like,
oh, Jessica's boyfriend.
We got to sponge off the meanie.
He had to sponge off Andrew.
If you don't sponge off the meanie, he's gonna chafe. Can't have that.
He's gonna chafe. Oh, that would mean he would have to do something to further chafe.
We use the most blue icing on God's green earth.
That's where you need Harley Race for. That promo. Wow, Blue Mini, dude. What a piece of work.
And then we get Raven cutting just kind of a generic Raven promo on Sandman. You don't see there's not much to it just because it isn't very long. And to end the show, the Sandman gives a toast to Dick Murdoch, who this week in 1996 had just passed away.
That's probably the best thing that happened on the show. They acknowledge Dick Murdoch.
And to show you what can happen if you drink and smoke your whole life, ladies and gentlemen, Dick Murdoch passed away at 32. So I'm just kidding.
That's how old he was?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think he was 52, probably.
No, people back then did look way fucking older than they actually.
Dude, yeah, you could have. Yeah, I mean, didn't somebody make a joke that somebody looked like they were like 38 back in like 38?
I saw a thing yesterday. It said,
Nate.
What?
I mean, in the scheme of life, it wasn't too bad. He was 49.
Jesus Christ, I'm 40. I'm 45 right now. Jesus, Murdoch, you lived your life, my friend.
I'm 51. I'll be 52 in about 9 weeks.
Well, look at that. You lived longer than Dick Murdoch.
And I think I'm living just as hard as Dick Murdoch. My only problem is I can't get a Coors Light sponsorship. Plus, I don't want a Coors Light sponsorship. I want a real beer sponsorship. Maybe that's why he died so young. He drank so much shitty beer.
He looks like he drank Schlitz.
No, he drank Coors Light.
Coors Light. He had his Coors Light party. He'd go into any bar and get free Coors Light.
I said he looked like. I said he looked like he drank Schlitz. I didn't say he drank it.
Oh, that's New Jack. That's malt liquor. Fuck all that shit.
Yeah, you're right about people looking older back in the day.
Well, no, like I just saw a thing.
I know, but I'm saying you're right. Like, look at the old West days, and they show like Billy the Kid, and they're like the last known photograph of Billy the Kid, and he looks like he's like 67, and he died when he was 24.
Right.
And that was like an old man. He had gunslinger.
He had like leathery skin at 16.
Yeah.
He called him an old gunslinger.
I saw a
old
thing.
Gunslinger Billy the Kid was 24. Like, Jesus Christ.
I saw a thing yesterday where it was like
he looks like Dutch Mantel looks now. And he was like 24.
Like Sapphire.
I saw a thing yesterday on the internet. It said Steve Martin is 78, which is crazy because I thought he was 78 in 1989.
Yeah, I saw the same one. Did you post that?
I might have reposted it, maybe.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
I mean, them guys from that era, dude. They all look that way. They all did.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, look at just look at Abdullah, for Christ's sake. When wasn't he 45? You know,
Arn Anderson.
Well, now Arn Anderson, you can kind of like get like a yearbook picture from like 82 or whatever, like in Southeastern, and he did have some hair up there. It may have been a little tough, but you can totally see it. But some people just don't. They just don't look like that.
The years go, the more different it gets. Like, we were talking about Rick Rude the other week, and that dude was 40 years old when he died. And it's like he looked like a full grown ass man. I mean, when you're 40, you're a grown ass man. But like by the time he got to WCW, it was like he was only 30. Like, what the fuck?
I always say
he looked like a 50-year-old man when he was there.
The one that always blows my mind, and the one I always mention, I know I mention it all the time, is when you look at pictures of like an 18-year-old Terry Gordy. Jesus fucking Christ. He looks like he's 36.
Right. I mean,
show me pictures of Harley when he came in.
Yeah, Blackjack Mulligan. Show me a young picture of Mulligan. All them guys. Like I saw an old picture today of the Sheik, and it was from 50 something. And it said like he had just came back from like the army or whatever he did, and he had just started working. I was like, dude, it looks like this sheet from like 92, 90, whatever it was, 92, 93. And I'm like, that's the original Sheik. Did you see that picture?
I've seen pictures of it. Like I actually was watching a episode of Big Time Wrestling on that Ultimate Classics Wrestling Network the other day, and it was from like 1972 maybe, and he looked like he was 72.
How do you get that by any chance? Because
actually, it's just like anything else. You have to have an app. It's an app, but if you have like a Roku TV or even on your phone or on your computer or whatever, you can subscribe to it just like you subscribe to any other subscription service.
Because I can't find anything I'm a big Sheik mark. Like I love watching Sheik stuff, but when you go on YouTube, you can only find there's not much that you haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that Saboldi guy's got that stupid app, but for some reason my phone just won't let me download anymore besides porn stuff.
Well, fellas, your host here has to hit the head. So really quick,
I gotta get something to eat.
Overall, I didn't give this episode high marks because the only thing I really enjoyed on it was Sabu and Mikey. The rest of it, I just was not. It didn't get me this week. It wasn't a great episode of ECW.
I thought it was pretty boring.
Well, that's the only reason why I gave it a C. It would have been a D plus, D minus in my book, somewhere around that, if it wasn't for Sabu and Mikey. Because I really thought whatever it was, 12 minutes of whatever that TV time was, I thought that was the best thing on the TV show. And I was glad that Sabu hit his spots, didn't screw him up. Mikey was there, did his job. I thought it was good stuff. So yeah, I gave it a solid C, probably. It was decent.
Well, everyone,
nothing else.
Yeah, I want to thank you all for joining us this week. Chad, Aaron, thank you for joining me. Check us out on the internet at the WNR Podcast Network, and tell your friends, tell your mama, tell anybody that you know that's a wrestling fan, especially old school wrestling fans, that they should be checking out Reliving the Extreme. We appreciate your support. We'll see everybody next
Hey,
week.
don't forget that I have an audition tomorrow. Put that over for everybody. I have an audition for that show, Stranger Things.
Hey.
You ever heard of it?
I have.
Oh, well, I have an audition tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
Well, good luck. Everybody here listening wishes you good luck, Chad.
Yeah. Or she may as well go fuck himself.
Have a great week, everybody.